Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Thursday, May 27, 2021. Al Jazeera report. Argentina battles health and economic crises as COVID cases soar. Buenos Aires, Argentina. The streets of Buenos Aires belong to people like Gabriel Martinez these days, as he searches high and low for scrap pieces of cardboard to turn into cash in the dog days of the pandemic. His 9-year-old son, Benjamin, dangles his legs over the edge of the cart, as his father returns empty-handed from a pit stop at a gas station. Martinez has been collecting cardboard for a living since he was 19, and now he is 34.
BBC report. New Zealand fugitive charters helicopter to police station. James Bryant, who faces assault charges, spent 5 weeks apparently hiding in a small town in North Otago. He told local media his time there had been great, but he was ready to leave the middle of nowhere. Prisoners advocate Arthur Taylor, who brokered the peaceful arrest, said he had taken Mr. Bryant for champagne and oysters on their way to the station. Taylor, a high-profile former inmate who is currently on parole, told reporters outside Dunedin Central Police Station, it was his first decent meal in weeks.
Al Jazeera report. A month on, Colombia continues to grapple with protest violence. Bogotá, Colombia. Friday marks a month since the beginning of protests that have roiled Colombia, causing fuel and food supply shortages, unemployment, infrastructure damage, forcing businesses to close and hurting local economies. Negotiations between the government and demonstrators have made little progress and protester demands are growing. Although turnout numbers seem to be dwindling, protests and unrest are still a daily occurrence and another major national strike is expected Friday.
Fox report. USO delivers morale-boosting meals to active-duty military during Fleet Week New York. A myriad of active U.S. Marines, Navy sailors, and Coast Guardsmen in the tri-state area were served up morale-boosting meals this week in recognition of their service, which ramped up tenfold due to the coronavirus pandemic. During the United Service Organizations Inc., USO's Feed the Crew events, these men and women, along with their significant others, were gifted with subway meals, snacks, and morale-boosting amenities, a necessity for those who have been deployed to support vaccination sites across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
CNN report Rush Limbaugh's time slot to be filled by new show from Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. The company that syndicated Rush Limbaugh's program Premiere Networks announced Thursday that Clay Travis and Buck Sexton will launch a new 3-hour show in his old time slot. The program, The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, will begin airing June 21 from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Premiere Networks said Travis 42 and Sexton 39 bring a slightly different style and background to the world of talk radio.
CNN report. Tigrayans told, "We'll see if America will save you now," as hundreds rounded up by Ethiopian and Eritrean soldiers. Days after the United States announced financial sanctions and visa restrictions on Ethiopian and Eritrean officials, eyewitnesses told CNN that hundreds of young men were rounded up from displaced peoples camps in Shire, a town in Tigray, late Monday evening. Witnesses speaking to CNN on condition of anonymity described how Ethiopian and Eritrean soldiers invaded at least 2 IDP centers where they beat and harassed Tigrayans displaced by a conflict that is believed to have killed thousands of civilians since November 2020.
Deutsche Welle report. DR Congo. Volcano threatens new eruption. Locals flee. Residents of the Dr. Congo city of Goma were told to evacuate Thursday as officials warned that the nearby Mount Nyiragongo volcano might erupt for a second time at any moment. Constant Ndima Kongba, the military governor of the North Kivu province, said magma was detected underneath the city in adjoining Lake Kivu, citing seismic and ground deformation data. The molten rock that erupts from volcanoes normally stays below the Earth's crust.
Fox report. Chilling surveillance footage shows alleged San Jose gunman moments before deadly shooting. The suspect in the mass shooting at a Northern California rail yard that left 9 people dead Wednesday, including the shooter, was captured on camera earlier that morning leaving for work. The suspected shooter, 57-year-old Samuel Cassidy, can be seen in the surveillance footage wearing safety clothing, a hat, and a mask as he leaves his house around 20 minutes to 6 a.m. The footage shows him loading a large duffel bag into his white Ford F-150 on the passenger side.
Fox report. Egypt invites Israel, Hamas, Palestinian Authority for talks, seeking a long-term truce. Egypt has invited Israel, Hamas and the Palestinian Authority for separate talks that aim at consolidating the ceasefire that ended an 11-day war between Israel and the Gaza Strip's militant Hamas rulers, an Egyptian intelligence official said Thursday. The talks would also focus on accelerating the reconstruction process in Gaza. We are seeking a long-term truce that would enable further discussions and possibly direct talks, said the official, who had close knowledge of the proceedings that had led to the ceasefire and who spoke on condition of anonymity because he wasn't allowed to brief reporters.
CNN report. Macron seeks forgiveness for France's role in Rwanda genocide, but stops short of apology. French President Emmanuel Macron publicly acknowledged France's overwhelming responsibility in the 1994 genocide in Rwanda and said only the survivors could give the gift of forgiveness. France did not understand that, while trying to prevent a regional conflict, or a civil war, it was in fact standing by the side of a genocidal regime, Macron said Thursday following a visit to the Gisozi Memorial in the Rwandan capital Kigali.
Deutsche Welle report. Nigeria. Dozens drown after boat capsizes. Nigerian rescue workers pulled 36 bodies from the water on Thursday, after a boat carrying at least 160 people capsized the previous day in the Niger River in northwestern Nigeria. The boat was meant to carry no more than 80 passengers and was also weighed down with bags of sand from a gold mine. The incident occurred near the town of Wara, which is on the shores of the Kainji Lake, according to a spokesman of the governor of Kebbi.
CNN report. Jewish House Democrats reference Green and some progressives in concerns over uptick in anti-Semitism incidents. A group of Democratic House members who are Jewish are calling on President Joe Biden to address a rise in anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. amid a divide within congressional Democrats, especially between moderate and progressives, on how to address the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. 4 Democrats, led by Rep. Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, sent a letter to Biden on Tuesday asking him to lead a united, all-of-government effort to combat rising anti-Semitism in this country.
BBC report. COVID. France bans non-essential travel from UK. The French government has announced that from the 31st of May only essential travel from the UK will be allowed. A week's self-isolation is also required. Germany imposed a 2-week quarantine on UK arrivals last week. Austria has banned direct UK flights from the 1st of June. By last week, the UK had recorded 3,424 cases of the B1.617.2 variant. That number had risen by 2,111 cases from the previous week. England's chief medical officer, Professor Chris Whitty, has said the Indian variant is more transmittable than the UK variant first identified in Kent, which was responsible for the UK's deadly wave of coronavirus infections this winter.
Al Jazeera report. U.S. says it will not rejoin Open Skies Treaty with Russia. The United States told Russia on Thursday it will not rejoin the Open Skies Arms Control Pact, which allows unarmed surveillance flights over member countries, a U.S. official reportedly said. Citing unnamed U.S. officials, the Associated Press reported that Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman told the Russians that the Biden administration had decided not to re-enter the treaty, which had allowed surveillance flights over military facilities in both countries before President Donald Trump withdrew from the pact.
Fox report. Kim vows to build end Korea socialism amid U.S. nuclear impasse. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed an uncompromising struggle against anti-socialist elements at home, state media reported Thursday, as he tries to fortify his power amid pandemic-related difficulties and U.S.-led economic sanctions. The comments by Kim, the third member of his family to rule the impoverished nuclear-armed country, come as doubts increase about both North Korea's economy and whether it will engage in serious disarmament talks with Washington.
BBC report. 3 sentenced over Barcelona and Cambrils jihadist attacks. 2 of the group were handed sentences of 53 and 46 years, while a third man was given an 8-year jail term. One of the perpetrators rammed a van into pedestrians in Barcelona's Las Ramblas tourist area, before a twin attack was launched in a nearby town. The Islamic State group said it carried out the attacks. The trio were found to have helped the perpetrators, who were all shot dead by police.
Deutsche Welle report. Privacy activists challenge Clearview AI in EU. privacy campaign groups on Thursday moved against Clearview AI before European regulators, filing a complaint over services the company provides to law enforcement agencies. The facial recognition firm has built a sizable database of billions of images, scraped from the web, including from people's social media accounts. Critics have raised concerns that its technology could be open to abuse and lead to the type of mass public surveillance seen in countries like China.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. Recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.